Good evening, everyone. I'm just waiting for, just going to give us a couple more minutes in order to let everybody log in. We are also streaming on YouTube Live tonight as well, so that hopefully we don't have the same issue that we had last year with our 300 participants. So if you just bear with us and give me a little bit of time to let everybody else log in, that'd be great. Thank you. All right, everyone. Good evening. We'll go ahead and get started. I know there's about, I'd say 25 times 7, 175 of you here. I don't know how many more that are on YouTube Live as well. So welcome to everyone. Thank you for taking the time out tonight to meet with everybody, meet with us, and to meet your child's teacher. We're excited to have you here. For those, hopefully everybody knows at this point, my name is Mark Hoyt. I'm the interim principal here at Union High School. Well, I guess not here at Union High School, but at Union High School. I also have with me tonight 3 of my vice principals, Mrs. Osti, who takes care of our, excuse me, our 10th graders, Mr. Ruddy, who takes care of our 11th graders.
Good evening.
Unfortunately, Mr. Rattino could not be here this evening. He is our senior vice principal. And by senior, I guess I mean he's in charge of the senior class. And then new to the building this year, but not to our district, is Mrs. Lori Roof. who is taking care of our freshmen. So if over the course of the next 10 months or so, 9.5 months, you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to direct it to either Mrs. Roof, Dosti, Mr. Ruddy, Mr. Rotino, or myself, and we'll do everything we can to help answer your questions and address whatever concerns you may have. We had, a different opening of school this year. Very happy to have everyone back, all the students back in the building. All at this point, we have about 2,200. I'm not going to say about, I suppose, 2,243 students enrolled at Union High School, with about 50 or so that are still waiting on registration paperwork and whatever. So I figure by the end of September, we'll have about 2,300 students in the building, which is very exciting for us, especially since for the past 18 months, we've really been without that number of students. And while it certainly is challenging, it is an exciting time for us, certainly as administrators and as teachers, to have students back in the building. So welcome back to all of the students. Welcome back to all of the parents. And we're really looking forward to a fantastic year. Before I turn things over or speak to let the PTA speak a little bit as well, and Mrs. Smith, who wanted to spend a couple of minutes speaking to you about the Fifth Quarter Club. I just wanted to go over a couple real broad things as it pertains to Union High School. The first thing is, and this is in no particular order, I suppose. The first thing is student attendance. Student attendance is important. We value your students being present. We feel it's important for everyone to be in school and participating in the educational process. Part of that is about being to school on time. Our school day begins at, and I know it's early, begins at 7:35 a.m. That means homeroom starts at 7:35 a.m. That's Union High School time. Now we don't have our own time zone, but we are 2 minutes ahead of Verizon time. So if your student gets in at 7:33, that is 7:35 Union High School time. So they will be in the very near future be marked late to school. They have to be in homeroom by the time our 7:35 bell rings. So you can set your clocks to Union High School time. That's 2 minutes ahead of Verizon or T-Mobile or Sprint or whatever cell carrier you have, 2 minutes ahead of their time. So what I've been telling the students is that if you're on time, then you're late. If you're early, then you're on time. So we really do value everybody being in homeroom, and we feel it's important for everyone to be both in school and in school on time. So that's that. That's our first thing. The second thing that we're going to be addressing in really the coming days is illness, sickness in your students. I know in this time everyone's very nervous and justifiably so about COVID and the health and safety of your students. In the event your student is son, daughter, whatever, is not feeling well, they have some type of COVID-like symptoms, which were outlined in the on the student wellness form that everyone should have completed. Please keep them home from school. My position is that students that need to stay home due to some type of COVID-like symptoms will be marked as an excused absence for the day. Okay, we do not want you to send your child to school sick and run the risk of A, infecting other students, or B, coming to school when they're not feeling 100%. We want them to be ready to go for the school day, and that includes being healthy. All right, so please, if your child is not feeling well, and there's a situation, some type of symptom that would preclude them from coming to school and doing so safely for everyone. Please, by all means, keep them home. If you can, if you send an email to our attendance office, letting them know, that would be great. And not, again, I want to stress that not every illness, not every sickness is COVID related. There are any number of illnesses, viruses, bacteria out there that cause kids to get sick, even in the absence of COVID. But you know, in the interest of being incredibly cautious, or I guess overly cautious in some sense, um, please, if your child is not feeling well, please keep them home. We don't want them in school sick. Um, if they do have to be out due to an exposure to COVID or whatever, if you email our attendance office and or our school nurse, um, we'll be happy to let you know what the guidelines are for, do they need to quarantine? Should they stay home? How long do they need to stay home, etc. I'm asking for your assistance in not sending your students to school when they are sick. Right now, if a student is home and needs to quarantine, I'm talking outside of your regular illness. Um, there is a quote unquote virtual option for them where teachers are being asked to post assignments on their Google Classroom. The majority of those assignments will be asynchronous, um, but lessons and links to lessons and assignments will be posted on the teacher's Google Classrooms so that your student can try to keep up as best they can. When they return, we'll do our very best to make sure that they get caught up as best as possible. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to adjust this just to make Miss Osti smile. Really, it is our dress code. Our student dress code is what it is. It can be found in our student handbook, which hopefully everybody has read. Um, what's appropriate and what is school appropriate can sometimes be very different things. Going to a Sweet 16 with all your friends and enough that you'd wear there may not necessarily be school appropriate. I recognize also that some students, what they leave the house in may not be what they arrive at school in. So, which is unfortunate, but however, that's the reality of the situation. So please, if you get a call from one of our vice principals about your child's dress, we're not trying to pick on them. We're not trying to single them out, but we are trying to ensure that students are dressed school appropriate, which can sometimes be a very different thing. My suggestion to many of the students when I see them is if you wouldn't not wear that in front of your grandmother, please don't wear it to school. So that's kind of been my default position. All right. So that's that. So lateness, coming to school, we're going to work on a way to excuse student absences. Again, not for necessarily general sickness, but if they are COVID related, because we do not want your student to come to school sick. That's something, and I'll be sending out some direction to everyone in the coming days to let you know what kind of, I don't want to say what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, but to give you some additional guidance on that. If you have any questions regarding whether or not your child should come to school because of whether a COVID exposure or illness, you can email our nurse's office, Mrs. Navoa. Right now is the only school nurse at Union High School. So if it takes her a while to get back to you, it's because she's taking care of 2,250 or approximately students, and she's doing her best. She can. You can also email Mrs. Laverty in the nurse's office too, and she can help to get back to you as well. Okay, so that's that. Again, you can also call or email the main office, anyone in the main office, or any of the vice principals, and we can help you out as well. Okay, and that's really important. We are looking forward to a fantastic year. And again, I'm going to turn this over to Mrs. Mohay and Mrs. Smith in just a couple of minutes here, but I wanted to take just a very quick, brief second to discuss social media and why it's good and why it's bad. As any of you that are on the Union Residence Forum may have seen that we did have an incident last week at Union High School um, involving a parent. Um, the things that I've seen that were posted on Union Residence Forum could not be further from the truth. If I'm to be honest, there are some things that we will share if it's something that, is significant and affects the entire school community. It's something that I will share. 2 years ago, we did have, for those of you who had kids, students at the high school, we did have a lockdown event. And as soon as I could share information, I sent that information out. However, the stuff that goes on social media, I suppose the big takeaway, what I'm trying to get at is, if you're getting your news from social media, you may want to consider an additional source to verify that. If it's something that's major, I will let all of you know. If it's something that drastically impacted your students, I will let you know. You'll hear it from me, or you'll hear it from the central office. Um, I will send that out to everyone as soon as I can, and when it's appropriate. All right. So please, if you have a question, I guess I would encourage you, if you have a question or a concern as it pertains to the high school, please email your vice principal, email myself, email the guidance counselor, your school counselor. My experience has been that the Union Residence Forum is not to knock anyone, but the Union Residence Forum is not necessarily, it's not where I would choose to get my news source from. And I'm not faulting anyone. I'm just saying there's some of the details that are posted around on social media, on Snapchat, Facebook, whatever, are probably not your most reliable news sources. Okay. So that's that. Anything that, comes out will come from me, will come from the central office in order to, to get the correct information out. And unfortunately, not everything can be shared, but I will share as much as I can, as quickly as I can. Go ahead, Miss Osti. You're muted, Kim.
Okay. I was telling you I was muted. I just noticed that someone did write in the comments that there was another fight today at lunch outside. Yes, that is correct. Unfortunately, like Mr. Hoyt said, a lot of the issues are stemming from social media. The students, this in particular are girls, are going back and forth on social media at home and outside of school, and then bringing it to school. And that's the problem that we're dealing with. We have counselors involved. We have the VPs are involved, talking to these girls over and over and over again. And basically, I had a girl tell me the other day, I don't care, I'm fighting her. And it's so frustrating. And we've reached out to parents and we've talked to the parents, and it consumes our day. And it's so difficult when these girls just keep going back and forth on social media. So we do need the parents to help us. We do need the parents to get involved. It is frustrating, and it is a safety issue. And we have, security out there. We have teachers on duty. We have, now we have some students outside at lunch because of COVID, so that they're not all confined in the cafeteria. And it's very difficult when a couple students do ruin it for everyone else.
And again, I don't want to, I don't want to harp on the negative thing, the negativity. I just want to ask for your help in if you see a post, or if you have a question, please email me. Your best bet, and I've said this in previously too, is to email me. And if you're going to you're one of the vice principals, or email me. But if you email me, also email my secretary, because she's awesome, Mrs. Perez, L. Perez at twp.org, because she makes sure that, or does her best to make sure that I don't miss any emails. So please email her as well. She's fantastic, as well as all the ladies in the office. So so that's that's that. Mrs. Smith, are you on about the fifth quarter club? I don't even know if you are. Let me see. I'm not sure. Mrs. Mohay this year is our PTA president. Mrs. Mohay.
Yes. Hi. Good evening, everyone. My name is Suhey Monghe, and I am, like Mr. Hoyt said, your PTA president for the 2021-2022 school year. I have three children. My daughter, Sareja, who's 27. My son, Ladas, who graduated from Union High School in 2020 and is currently at the University of Miami. And I currently have my youngest son at the high school. He is a senior, and his name is Diego. This is officially my very last open house. And while it's bittersweet, I do have to say that I am glad it's virtual, because if any parents have ever walked an open house at the high school, going up and down the stairs and walking through those long hallways, trying to figure out where you're going, it can be pretty brutal. So I'm actually enjoying this. But anyway, enough about me. I'm going to introduce my board really quickly. My first VP is Mrs. Melissa Francis. I'm not sure if she's on. I know there's quite a few people on. I did want her to say a few things, but I don't know if she's there. Might be difficult to find her. Then I have my secretary, Mrs. Lizzie Perez. She has a sophomore at the high school. Melissa has a senior and a junior. And then I have Mrs. Nadira Amin Fenner, who is my treasurer, and she has several children. So I'm not sure how many she has at the high school, but I think she might have two at this point. I couldn't have asked for a better team of women to work with, so I'm very happy. So I do want to put in a shameless plug. Please join the PTA. It's so important. The PTA provides programs on strengthening family and school partnerships. It helps amplify your voice, advocate for your students, for your children. My freshman parents, if you join the PTA, freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year, your child will be eligible to apply for a scholarship that is given by the PTA. So it's only $7 for freshman year, $7 for sophomore, junior, and senior year, and that can get your child a scholarship for college. And if you don't know, now you know, college is expensive, so any amount of money helps for books or anything else. And then last, I'd like to just shoot out some dates to remember. Our next PTA meeting is October 7th. They're usually the first Thursday of every month. We are currently holding them virtually until further notice. We have our clothing drive September 25th from 9 to 12 at the Union High School front entrance. Please send your students, if they drive there, if they get there with a bag of clothing to donate, we will give them hours towards their community service. Spirit Wear, we opened up our store on September 1st. It closes on September 30th. Try to get your orders in. You don't want your kids to be the only ones walking around with their new Spirit Wear. And that will get delivered on October 22nd. And then last on our calendar is the Bingo Bash that is scheduled for October 16th from 2 to 6 p.m. at the VFW. Tickets are currently on sale through Member Hub. Let me see what else. Oh, yes, I just got word today from Mrs. Ahern that the Senior Parent Information Night was rescheduled to September 29th. So senior parents, look out for information on that. You don't want to miss information on that. And just so the parents know, in order for you to get the link for the PTA meetings, you do have to become a member. I think that Lizzie Perez just put that link in the chat. If she hasn't, Lizzie, if you're there, if you can put it in, that would be great. So people know where to go to sign up for membership. And last but not least, in order to get all that information I just gave you, you can find us on social media. We are reputable. We only put out facts. Union High School PTA, and the Instagram page is UHS PTA NJ, I'm sorry. And then you can also find us on the school website under uhs.twpunionschools.org. Click on parents and then PTA. And that's it. That's all I got.
Okay, I don't know if, and I can't see anywhere if Mrs. Smith from our fifth quarter club is here. Okay, at this point, I'm gonna set you loose and let you go ahead and meet your classroom teachers. Just as a reminder, tonight, this evening is not necessarily a parent-teacher conference, specific questions about your child, but general questions about the curriculum, about the classes and what the expectations are. Because there's not going to be enough time for the teachers to address all, necessarily all individual concerns. So again, thank you, Suhei. Thank you, Mrs. Osti, Mrs. Roof, Mr. Ruddy, for taking the time out, and obviously to all the parents for taking your time and all that you do for your students, and for the high school. Okay, the links to the classes were sent earlier today by Mrs. Perez. They should be an email with a Google Doc with all the links to all the individual teachers. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you, and I look forward to a great year. Have a great night.